Hey, what's happening? It's me, Scott Anderson from Stronger Yoga Academy, and we are taking yoga, all that stretching, all that contortion, and we're adding strengthening, and we're adding therapy. Now, today, what we're going to work on is an essential morning routine. These are the things that you want to think about doing when you get up out of bed. You're listening to the awesome 1975 because life is like chocolate. It's like chocolate. It's just so delicious. We're going to get started in just a second. This is a short routine. It's something that you can do every morning before you get up and go nowhere because you're under quarantine. But if, let's just say, for example, you had to go to work, okay? These are the things that you would want to do. But let me just say this, and then we're going to get started. This is going to be an awesome routine. You guys are going to love this. But you know, life was great. You were just this little yoga minifigure, right? Let me do this. And then life happened. Then this happened. Come on, focus. See, and then now we're all doing this, and you can't see anybody's smiles, right? And that's why I always, whenever I go somewhere, and I try not to because we're not supposed to, but if I have to go to the store, I say, I'm smiling under here, right? But it's important to remember that the greatest lesson in life is this too shall pass. This too shall pass. So even if you are wearing your little mask, life can rock. Woo! 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 I got my mask on, but I can still rock. And life can rock too. So let's get our day started. Let's have a little bit of fun today. Life is good. Life is sweet, right? Let's do this. Now here's the best thing. Everything worked today. It's amazing. And not only that, but right before we went live, everything went wrong. I just shit myself every time we're about to do this. You're gonna need a pole. Now what you can do is grab your broom out of your closet. I'll wait. So I'm just gonna hang out here and work on my Olympic javelin throwing. So go to the broom closet, get yourself a broom. If you can't take the end off, that's fine. Right? As long as you have a pole. So a pole or a rod or a stick. I just realized what I'm doing. I'm pole dancing. I'm pole dancing. Did you get that? All right. Okay, never mind. Let's if you have one of these, go get it, okay? And have it somewhere near your yoga mat. Step to what is essentially the top of your mat. And then slide your left foot back about 1.5 feet, about 18 inches, okay? Enough that when you bring your weight fully to your right foot, your left heel is lifted. Now, when you plant your left heel, lift your right. It's really simple. Boom. Feels like you're on a Nordic track. You're on one of those things that's like low impact and easy on your knees. And what we're doing is just starting at the feet, and we're going to work our way up, okay? So push down through the heel, lift the other one, and it just looks like that. Let's go to the side. Boom. It's really simple. It's almost like you're doing a really shitty, Michael Jackson moonwalk, and you're not going anywhere. Step your left foot forward, step your right foot back, and let's just call it that. Let's call it the shitty moonwalk. Lift your right heel, and then when you press your right heel down, lift your left. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe this is an essential skill for learning how to actually do the moonwalk. Leave me a comment if you know how to moonwalk. Because if so, I want some lessons. That's something that you should learn before you die, don't you think? Step your right foot forward. Reach your hands up into the air. I'm going to step back, or I'm on the side, so I'm going to go to this way. You don't have to move. As long as you can see me, press your palms together. Feet are a little bit wider than your hips. I want you to press your palms together, and I want you to try to not just go to the right and go down and have the hip shift to the left. Keep your hips between your heels. That means from the belly button down, nothing moves. But from the belly button up, we're not just going to the right, we're trying to lift to the right. So think about your hands as a rocket, all right? And think about that trajectory. It goes straight up, and then it starts to go out to the side. Remember, the hips don't shift to the left foot. Your right foot should feel heavier, but you should also be lifting, 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 and release. Because now we're starting to get into these side bodies here. We have to wake up the feet because they've just been sitting there or lying there on the bed, right? Just like the rest of us. So we want to wake up those calves, start to wake up the knees, and we want to wake up the side bodies. Press your palms together, keep the knees unlocked, and remember, from the belly button down, nothing moves. And from the belly button up, it lifts. It lifts. You're trying to reach both hands away from your right heel. And then come back to center. That's really nice. Now turn to the top of your mat again, and let's go, which one is that? That one. Point your toes straight forward. Reach your hands up into the air and place your thumbs behind your head. Stick out your butt against your pants. Lift your elbows up. Look up at the ceiling. Big breath, and as you exhale, hinge at your hips. That means your butt's going back, okay? So I'm gonna switch the camera so you can see that what we're trying to do is create a proper hinge pattern. Instead of just trying to touch the toes, guys, you gotta believe me on this. When you get out of bed, the last thing that you need to do is touch your toes and stretch your back. Typically, the back isn't as strong as we need it to be, and you can't stretch yourself strong. It's not like you're going to explode or burst into flames if you stretch your back or touch your toes. But what we want is to realize what the body's been doing, hopefully for 7 or 8 hours, which is, right? And that means your spine's already in flexion. Your elbows are in your sides. You're kind of doing this, right? Maybe your knees are bent. You're kind of in this fetal position. So what we need to do is think about, if our body's been doing this all night, we need to blossom and open up, right? So that's an essential thing to keep in mind here. So let's go back to this camera so that we can see. All I want you to do is take your arms, reach out to your sides like a capital letter T, stick out your butt, lift your hands a couple of inches, and then draw your arms back. Look up at the sky. And, you know, it is the gesture, it is the body of expression of, why, God? Why Corona now? And then slowly we're going to hinge forward. But remember, we're going to hinge with a proper pattern. So I want you to see, I'm sticking out my butt, and my back is straight. And that means that I can't touch the floor. I can't touch my toes, because what I'm going to do is not allow slack in my hamstrings, which is tailbone down, pushing against lumbar. So I want to, as my heart goes forward, I want my butt cheeks to go up. That means the hands can probably be on the knees for this, all right? So all I want you to do is try to bend at 90 degrees at the hips, and then push into heels, lift your toes. And then maybe energetically try to slide the heels apart, and you'll start to wake up those soleus. You might feel it somewhere else. And now we're going to let the back round, and we're going to bring all those fingertips to the floor, and we're going to bend the knees and squat, lifting the heels. All right? Now we're going to take the hands one at a time. We're going to rotate them, left hand counterclockwise, right hand clockwise, and we're going to step them back so that thumbs touch big toes. You can even put your thumbs on your big toes, and you can even place maybe your heels on your fingers. And what I want you to do is press your chest forward. Now you can see I deliberately wore a really loose sweatshirt so you could see that it's hanging off of me, right? So when I place my hands in a reverse position and step them back underneath me and then I press my chest forward. What I'm doing is I'm stretching my biceps, stretching my forearms, and you can see I'm spreading out my shirt a little bit more across the chest. And then place your fingertips in front of you and lower your knees to the floor. Stay on the balls of your feet and slide your hands back behind you and maybe lift your butt off of your heels. That's going to feel real nice too. Again, we're doing the opposite of what your body did all night long, right? Nobody slept like this unless you're, super weirder than me, because I might do that. And then we're going to slide the hands in front of us and then lift the knees. And we're going to try to lower the elbows towards the big toes. You can bounce on the balls of your feet. And let me show you this. If you happen to have a block, in fact, here's something that you should think about. Become a 2-block family, right? Most families are 2 income, and right now it's 0 income maybe, right? But be a 2-block family. That way you've got a spare block if you need it. You still have one for yoga. You can toss one at somebody if they piss you off. You could also share it with a friend if they come over to do yoga with you. But let's say that you're down here, right? And all of this is elusive. Then use the blocks, because blocks are great because they can always bring the floor up to your hands, all right? So that means I can have my blocks in front of me, and then I can slide them behind me and place my knees down. It basically is bringing the floor up so that you don't have to reach down so far. So that's really nice. It's so nice, we should do it twice. And maybe you're getting to the point where you've got that looseness in your hips and you feel that subtle shift in body weight to where you're doing this without even your hands on the floor, right? And coming forward, whoa, almost fell off the back of the heels, but you get the idea. Now, we're going to come onto our backs. And if you take nothing away from this session, this is going to be one of those like plenty in 20 classes. We're going to get everything done in 20 minutes or less, right? Come onto your back. Plant your feet. Now what I want you to do is reach your left hand up into the air, and then you're going to lift your butt by pushing into your feet and reach over your right shoulder with your left hand and touch the floor as far away from that corner of your mat that you can see under your right eye. You're going to reach your left hand over that corner. And then bring your left elbow down to your side, bring your butt down. Right hand reaches up into the air. Lift your butt. And now reach over your left shoulder and touch the floor far away from that corner of your mat that's next to your nose. And then lower your butt, lower your right elbow, and we switch sides. Lift your butt, reach left hand over the right shoulder, bring it down. Reach your right hand over your left shoulder. And now let's really think as we come back down one more time. We're going to do a few more sets of this. Now when you reach your left hand over your right shoulder and try to touch the floor as far away from you as you can, push into that left foot really firmly, and then release, bring it down. Reach right hand up into the air, push into right foot, reach right hand over left shoulder, and back down. Now, one more thing to keep in mind, if you are a 2-block family, what I typically do when I'm doing this is I place those blocks in those corners above my shoulders. And then when I lift my butt and reach over, I push the block away from the corner of my mat. And then I switch sides and I push the block away. And then when I go back to the one I already pushed away, I push it a little bit further. And then I go back to the other one and I push it a little further. And all you're doing is pushing your block, okay? But when I say that's all you're doing, That's not even close to all you're doing. What you're really doing is creating rotation, and you're creating extension, and you're creating this beautiful stretch through your side bodies and opening. So grab onto your hamstrings, cross your ankles, and rock yourself up into a seated position. My mic fell out. Put that baby back in there. Plant your hands and step back into crouching cat. Crouching cat is downward facing dog with a little bend in your knees. Now that we've got less tension on the hamstrings, we can use the back muscles to pull the butt cheeks up into the air. Let's go through a quick salutation. We just want to twist. We want to open and twist. So lift your right leg up and step forward. Reach your right hand into the air. Reach down, pivot to your left. Place your right hand on the floor under your chest. Reach your left hand into the air. Reach down. Turn back to the top of your mat and step forward. Rise up. Exhale, hinge forward. Lift your right leg up and step it back. Reach your left hand up. Pull the hips down like they're really heavy. Reach down and turn to your right. Reach your right hand into the air. When you turn your torso to the right, that's the hand you'll lift. Reach down and turn back to the top of your mat. Step forward, rise up, drive through the heels. Let's do another set. Exhale, hinge forward. Just starting to move the body. Lift your left leg, step it back. Reach your right hand high. The hips are low and heavy. Exhale, turn left. Left hand reaches out to the side and it keeps going. And we reach down. Turn to the top and step forward. Rise up. Exhale, hinge forward. Last one, right leg lifts. Exhale, step back. Reach your left hand up, pull the hips low. Reach down, turn to your right. Reach your right hand up. And reach down, turn back to the top. Step forward, rise all the way up. Did you get that broom? Did you get a pole? Go grab that sucker. See, we haven't even done the really hard work, all that strenuous butt-burning stuff that I'll normally subject you to, and already I just feel warmer, feel just a little bit sweaty. Not like gross sweaty, but sexy sweaty. You know what I mean? So if you have a pole, then you just hold on to it, and you go forward and back, like so. Bringing the pole to your pelvic bones, pulling it back to your lumbar. Forward and back. This is me stalling just a little bit more. If you have one, go get one, because what I'm going to do is show you how, even if you don't need this, how to show someone else if they lack the balance or stability. All right? Go ahead and step to the top of your mat. Am I on the right? I am. Plus, if you have, sometimes a broom can be short. This is like a push broom, so it's a little bit longer. But either way, if you've got something that you can steady yourself with, if you are on one leg and you need that support, this is a great thing to have. You can also do your Ian McKellen, impression. You shall not pass, right? Step, left foot back. Let's get some Bruce Lee shit going. I want you to take this rod and flip it over. Notice that it is, if my arm is at a 90-degree angle, this pole is sort of at mid-bicep, mid-upper arm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it with my other hand and bring the bottom end to my right hip. And then I'm going to push the pole back with my right arm. So now the pole, see, I don't even have to hold it. My right hand is open. I'm going to hold it anyway. Lunge into the right knee. This is just a crescent lunge, an angine. And we're going to take left hand, and we're going to reach for the top of the pole where the right hand is. And then we're just going to pull the pole back. So there's a little bit of rotation, there's a little bit of extension, but there's a lot of length through the left side. and release. And we're going to take that pole and place it on the ground. And now you can see that relationship to that one that I'll have you do quite often, which is just your palms together above your head and lean to your right. This is just the non-pole version. Nice lateral flexion from a lunge gives us space through the side, a long line of space. And then come back to center and place your hands on the floor, straighten your right leg, and bend your left. So now it feels like you're trying to slide your mat forward with your right foot and hold it down with the ball of your left foot. So lift your left heel high and push the ball of your left foot down. So the back doesn't really need that stretch. It's really the hamstrings. Anytime you bend over, that might be where you're feeling it, right? And then go ahead and step forward and rise up. Bring your pole with you. And there's lots of auxiliary uses for this pole. Like if you have one of those dogs in your house, right, that is like always jumping on you when you do yoga, you could just crack them. I'm kidding. Come on. I love dogs. Slide your right foot back. You shall not pass. We're going to take this thing and flip it over, if you have one. And then we want to take this left elbow back, but actually bring it in. Because you got to grab the bottom and bring it into the groin here. And make sure that your upper arm is more or less parallel to the floor. And now we're going to press it back, lunge into the left knee. You're just in a crescent lunge, and you got this pole thing going on. And we're going to take the right hand and reach over for the pole. And again, this might be a good option to give you leverage if you're lacking motor control to do this pose without the broom handle. Or, again, maybe you don't need it, but you're a yoga teacher or you're a practitioner, and you want to be able to help others. This is one way to do it. And release. We're going to place that down on the floor, and we're going to plant the hands. Remember, use yoga blocks if the floor is too far away. Another pro tip for you, you don't have yoga blocks. You can't reach the floor. Stack a hand on your shin under your kneecap. Place the other hand on that. That should provide some stability. But if you've got weight on the heel and ball of your left foot, and you lift your right heel high, hopefully you're going to feel more or less stable. And even here, look at this. I just hold on to this, right? Hold on to whatever you need to get into some of those positions that require stability. And if you could make yourself more stable, you would receive all the benefits. So we're lifting right heel high. And I'm pushing down into the ball. My right foot's doing what I call a dig. That's like a shovel going into the ground. It goes straight down, digs into the earth. That's what your right foot's doing. Your left foot's trying to slide forward. Collarbones pressing against the top of your shirt. And release. Plant the hands and step forward and rise up. How we feeling so far? Bring your palms together. Now, those are really wonderful, basic, simple stretches that you can do every morning to take your body out of that state into a state of yes, yes. Step your feet nice and wide. We're just going to start to introduce a little bit more stability because as we age, we'll lose stability. And that's why so many people, you hear about them at an elderly age, going down the stairs or just walking. They fall down, they break their hip, right? The bones get brittle, we lose stability, and we don't want to be that person, right? Again, you can use this broom. What was that show? There was an old show. I'm an old guy. There's an old show. I'll think of it. Now, you're just going to hold on to that. That way, if you lack the stability to just lift one leg, and plant that foot, you can always do this. Now, all you're trying to do here is activate your outer hips and move your weight from one foot to the other. And that may not feel like an important thing you need to do. I'm just going to walk to work, and that's going to be great. Walking is repetitive forward movement. This is much more of a lateral movement. And now we're just going to do the other side. Remember, even if you don't have this, you always have a wall. You have a shelf. You have something. You can put your hand on it and lift your leg and step back and lift and step back. And pretty soon, you're going to feel like a tiny dancer. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Let's go back to the top and squat down. Yes. Now, elbows inside the knees, just push. Plant the hands, lower the knees, point the toes. Sit down, lean back. You can lift your butt if you've got really tight hip flexors, and you can lift and lower. This isn't about poses, guys. It's not even about stretches. It's about restoring range of motion that's lost through sleep due to a lot of factors, just immobility, adhesion. So what happens while you sleep is you literally get this gooey stuff that sort of sticks to your muscles. That's what makes you stiff, right? And it's like this material that's a lot like your fascia. And if you don't move your body, it doesn't, it'll stay on the muscles. And then the next morning, it happens again. Just think about how dust collects on a shelf over time. That's what this gooey adhesion does. It starts to accumulate over time. Movement's important. Movement is medicine, okay? So movement, it doesn't matter what the pose is. It doesn't have to be out of a yoga book. If you are taking your body into extension, that is back bending. If you are taking your body into rotation, obvious, that's twisting, right? And if you are taking your body into lateral flexion, that's moving sideways and combining those three ideas. Extension, rotation, lateral flexion. Those are the things that take you out of this bed state of being sort of curled in a ball. Now let's come back onto our feet because we're doing a morning routine. We're not going to do Shavasana and lie the fuck down. We've been doing that, right, for 7 or 8 hours. So what we want to do is stand up, and if you need to, go get your Gandalf staff, hold on to a shelf, hold on to a chair, hold on to somebody, and grab your right foot. When you have your foot, you could kick, right? You could kick. And a lot of times, this is sort of the classic pose, right? If I grab the inside of my foot and I reach my hand forward and I kick, what I'm doing is I'm pulling myself into extension rather than creating extension with extension muscles. Does that make sense? It means that when I kick my leg, what I'm really doing is trying to straighten my leg, which means I'm using my quadricep. That means my quadricep is pulling me into a back bend. But what I could do instead is simply grab the foot and preferably the outside, arms in a neutral position, right? And then we can hold the pole if we need to, bow forward, and slide your hand down the pole. And now if I hold my heel to my butt and try to lift my right knee away from the floor without it flaring out to the right, if I send it on a trajectory straight back, like I'm tracing a line along the center of my mat backwards and lowering my heart, that alone is doing you a tremendous amount of good. And again, maybe you don't need the staff. Maybe you just want to pretend to be Gandalf. And that's all that that pull is good for, right? Grab your left foot. Again, stability is important. We don't want to fall and go into work or go into quarantine, go into the bathroom, wherever you're going. Now remember, your body wants to turn and give this left side weight to the right. It wants to load it to the right. So press your left knee into the center. And when your right hand is going down on a pull, on your thigh, on your shin, or maybe it's not going anywhere. A lot of times I'll even go hand to the side of the head. And another thing that you can focus on is lifting your right knee away from the floor, but holding it to the midline, holding the, that's your left hand on left ankle, lifting your left knee and lifting your right elbow. And rise up. Step your feet nice and wide apart. Wide apart. Hands on the side of your head. Elbows out. And to the side, to the side. You can reach down and reach up. And some of those things that you see in yoga so often, those things are just with the things that I just described to you. It's extension, rotation, lateral flexion. So those are the ideas that I want you to take with you today in your morning routine. But like I said, if there's one thing that I'd like to see you guys try to incorporate into your life, something that you can literally just pop off the bed onto the floor, and that is on your mat or on the floor, knees are bent, feet are flat, left hand reaches over right shoulder as far as you can. We do the same thing on the other side. Do that at least a half a dozen times on each side. That one's key. And then also try to get yourself into your squat down here. And again, notice that when I lower my knees and I bring my hands back, I'm in extension. I can even, from this position, take right hand and reach over left shoulder. I can take right hand, plant it, and reach left hand over. That's the magic movement that you need in the morning to get yourself ready to take on your day and get yourself out of that sleep state and that sleep body. I don't know what the fuck to do with this microphone. But anyway, that's what I want you to take away today. Please come back. I've got more tips for you tomorrow. If you like this video, if you got anything from it, please leave me a like. And be sure and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions or comments, because those things tell YouTube that people watch and enjoy this content, and then the YouTube will start recommending it to other people. So that's a way that you can help us out without giving us $1, and you can always give us $1 too if you feel so inclined. There's lots of ways to do that. You'll see it on the end screen. Thank you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to the center, because what a unique and different type of experience you had today. I don't get to lie down. I've got somewhere I've got to be today. So I'm moving, I'm grooving, I'm with you every day through this quarantine. If you don't know, we've been doing this for almost 2 months. We've been shut down. This is literally episode 59. Tomorrow will be episode 60. That's practically my age. Can you believe it? I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you real soon.